right, guys, good morning. Pull up my dashboard here. Give it a minute for folks to join up before we start talking about what I kind of want to tackle today, if possible. I do need everybody's help, so hopefully we get some people on the stream who can help me figure out the best place to source some data and to fix some of these import issues. Hey, Syphilis, welcome. Good morning. You're the first guy to comment, so you haven't missed anything yet. It's 9:32. I started about 30 seconds ago, I think. Excuse me. Morning, Teddy. Oh, well, ha 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 then, Syphilis. Hey, K-Money, welcome. Sid, welcome. All right, so this morning, I know I had mentioned that I might work on the LaunchBox Games database today, but I don't think we're going to end up doing that, at least not extensively. I plan on working. I may do another day of the LaunchBox Games database tomorrow or Friday. I'm not entirely sure. If not, we'll definitely hit it up next week. Thing is, I spent a lot of time yesterday working on data and the LaunchBox Games database, and we're still going to spend some more time on data today. And it feels like to me that the data for the imports is of higher priority than anything else, basically. So that's what I want to focus on, basically. I want to make sure that we're able to import as many platforms as possible. So that is going to be the focus today. If you follow the beta testing thread, let me pull that up here. Just yesterday, I put out some changes that will basically I basically added another table, another XML file. If you take a look at, let me pull up my LaunchBox folder here. If you take a look at, if you're running the beta, and you take a look at your metadata folder, you notice there's a new files.xml file. Okay, and all this does, ultimately, if we, it might take too long to load it up in Notepad++, but all this really does is gives you, it matches up file names to game names. It's just a bunch of, just a list of games that have that in XML that have the file name, the game name, and the platform. Okay, so, and all this is coming from SQL Server data, and it's batch updated whenever new updates are downloaded from the LaunchBox Games database. So that is basically what I added yesterday. And if games aren't matching up, for example, we've got a couple complaints in the beta testing thread saying that Sid, who's on in the stream, for Amiga, we're still getting these weird names. So it may be that these names are actually in the data, but they're with the version numbers and all this stuff, and that's the issue. I'm guessing that's probably the issue, is the version numbers and all the things on the end, because anything inside of parentheses is lopped off automatically. But I have a feeling the reason why we're having trouble is because Amiga is named like this in the database. That's how all the games are just named by default, and none of this stuff is getting lopped off. And so what's ultimately happening is that it's not able to search the LaunchBox Games database because of all this crap on the end of all these games. So that's the kind of stuff I want to work on today, if we can. So for Amiga, and then this as well. This is also Amiga. So maybe Amiga needs to be the focus. But that has been a really common request. We definitely need to be able to import the Amiga stuff. It's going to be tough for me to test it because I don't have an Amiga set right now. But that's kind of one thing we need to work on. And then if anybody's got any other platforms that they know are causing issues, that's another thing we need to tackle. I know Atari ST has an issue because it needs more than one ROM, so we might take a look at something like that as well. But basically, we need to solve the problem for these problematic systems, I think. Model 2 and Model 3 should be working great now, Stiflis, since my update yesterday. I actually tested Sega Model 2 and was able to get data for everything. So that should already be a big win. I haven't tested Sega Model 3, but in theory it should work. So I'm going to pull up the server here for a second. Actually, drag this over for a second here while I load this stuff up. All right. So this I can't talk. Welcome, Rincewind and Ali. Good to see you guys. And Vissy, Jazzphone, welcome. Pac-Man, hey. So here we have the LaunchBox Public is basically the games database, actual SQL Server database. And in my ROM file table here, you'll notice this is where all the data is. So if we can get the data in here, which it's not difficult. It's just got the platform, the file name, and the game name. So really pretty simple here. I'm gonna take a look at the Amiga stuff here first, so we can try and solve the Amiga stuff. Hey Jade, welcome. Sorry you're feeling depressed. I was there yesterday, actually. Yeah, but thanks for joining us anyways. Anyways, I want to filter for Amiga, so we need to take a look at the platform list. Find the ID for Amiga. Nah, I don't feel like looking for it. Okay, so the platform key is 2. So we'll look at this data here. So in theory, this should be working, but apparently it's not. I'm not quite sure why. But all these names are correct. We have the game name over here. We have the file name over here. But something isn't quite right. So if we take a look at, for example, the screenshot, it could be that my data source was wrong or inaccurate. It was hard to find data to populate this table, I'll tell you that. And I found it various places, and it was kind of a pain. You're a winner, Teddy. Goodness. Try some cocaine, you guys. I tell you what, those are not good answers. When somebody says they're depressed, those are not good answers. Not at all. I hear you, Jade. Does this conversion table work with specific sets? What do you mean by specific sets? It works for specific platforms. Depends on what you mean by set. So, for example, the file name here is 1943 space v1.3, and I think I might know what the problem is here. And file name like 1943%. Yeah, you see this? We've got an underscore. And in this guy's stuff, whoever this image is from, I don't remember, there is no underscore. Ah, so we are automatically replacing the underscores before we're checking the file names. Well, there's your problem. So this would be an easy fix for Amiga, from what I can tell. That's good. That's very good. So in my... what am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing. It's under utilities, I believe. Parse file name, or parse game. Get title from file name. Here we are. But it should be actually doing this before. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense why this would be a problem. So in this case, for 1943, this is what it's looking for. Does that match up perfectly is the question. We pull up the thread. The file is 1943 underscore v1.3.lha. It could be a file extension issue, but I don't think so. So 1943 underscore v1.3. Oh, this is 1.2. Okay, interesting. So I think maybe what's going on is we don't have a complete list of the Amiga metadata. That makes some sense. This is 1.3 and the other one's 1.2. So, okay, so Sid, here's what I need help with. All right, I'm not familiar with any of this stuff. So I need to figure out how to get an XML file or something of that nature that has all this data, okay, and get it into SQL Server. That's what we ultimately need. So let's work on that. Let's get it done. So you said you got a link in the thread for the WHD load stuff. Ah, nice. Right there. Look at that. An Amiga XML. Wow, you already solved this for me, didn't you? Very cool. Okay. No. All right. So here is the XML. Just out of curiosity, we have 1943 1.3 in this. This might actually be similar to the same data I actually used. The problem is though, so here's the issue, Sid. Oh no, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I have 1.2, and this is 1.3 for this game. So yes, this is probably more updated. Okay, good. So I just need to get the data out of here and into the SQL Server database. How are we going to do that? The easiest thing to do, I have an idea. Let's do this. Excel makes this the easiest approach. It really is. So what I'm going to do is take this Commodore Amiga, drag it over here. Excel. There we go. As an XML table. And this is what we get. So I'm going to delete all the data we don't need. Oops, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Delete. We have name, which is the file name, and description, which is the actual name of the game. No clone information. Well, really, we're not going to use anything other than name and description from this data. So, delete. All right. And then what I can do is literally do a copy and paste into SQL Server if I set this up correctly. So that's what I'm going to do here. We'll start with new query on LaunchBox public. I'm going to create table Amiga import temp with 2 columns. Name and varchar 255 and description and varchar 255. Except I'm going to change the names of these. This is file name and game name. So that will create us a table called Amiga import temp. We'll refresh our tables list. And this is a big cheat way to do it, but it'll work. I'm just going to edit the top 200 rows, go over to my Excel, and I'm going to copy all the rows that I need. 2,289. Control C, and then I'm going to go in here and just paste them. And we'll get all the data in SQL Server, and then I can use SQL queries to filter it out and combine it together. And if you guys are able to, you'll literally, when we get done with this, you guys will be able to test it with your collections and make sure that we're back up to par, because I'll update all the data, and then you'll be able to download it and go from there. However, this paste process typically takes a little bit of time. This isn't the most efficient or the best way to get data into SQL Server, but it works and it's nice and quick and easy, so this is what I commonly use. But we'll let that go. That's going to take some time. Let's check up on comments here. Oh, that's a hyperspin XML. Okay. Yeah. I hope we're not stepping on toes by using that data, but the only pieces of data that we're using are the file name and the game name, so it's hardly precious data, I guess, although it's pretty important. Thank you, Pac-Man. I don't know if I want to just steal all the data from Hyperlist, because it's kind of risky to do that. I don't know if I'm going to piss off the Hyperspin people if we do that. Hey, Quad, welcome. That makes sense, K-Money. We're not going to use them directly, that's for sure. But, you know, we can use the initial stuff to populate the data. All right, how we coming? Looks like we're done. 2289 and 2289. Good. So we have all the data in SQL Server now. So what we can do is write a query. We know that the platform key is 2 for Amiga. So what I'm going to ultimately do is, this should be really simple. Insert into ROM file, platform key, file name, game name, select 2 for the platform key, and then file name, game name, except we're going to need, I'm going to say A for Amiga, A.filename, A.game name from Amiga import temp, A, where not exists, select. Actually, it'd be better to do a left join. Left join ROM file R on R dot file name equals A dot file name and R dot platform key equals 2. And then I can say where R dot ROM file key is null. Now what this will do is basically populate the ROM file table with all the data from Amiga import temp that isn't already in the ROM file table, in theory. Here we go. 762 rows it added. So now we will take a look at the data. Then we take a look at 1943. Let's order by file name. And we now have 1943 V2 or 1.2 and 1.3. We have a whole bunch of different versions here, which is good. So now that's all we should need to do as far as getting the data correct for Amiga. So the next step is going to be this. And I don't want to show you guys this process for security reasons, but I'm going to go update the metadata. So we'll give that a second. Basically what this is going to do, this process is updating the metadata download so that you guys will be able to download the updated metadata in LaunchBox. And then if anybody on the stream is able, Sid, I'm not sure if anybody's at home or is able to run the import for Amiga. I don't have an Amiga set in front of me, so it's not going to be easy for me to test it. But in theory, this should fix the imports for Amiga, I think. And it looks to me like it should be updated. So that's awesome, Sid. Go for it. Assuming that it downloads the updated metadata.zip when you run an import process, you should be good to go. Stifilus, what about the daily prayer? So I've been doing, we can pray. I'm happy to pray. I'd love to pray. I've been doing my daily devotions right before I start the stream lately. So, and I've also, I'm probably pissing some people off, but I created a blog up on the forums where I do my devotions every day and put up my thoughts and the scripture readings and all that kind of stuff. So I just prayed before I started the stream, but we can certainly pray on the stream if you guys would like. So I spent a good 15-20 minutes doing devotions and stuff before the stream and praying for the stream and all that stuff. Less awkward that way, I think, but I'm happy to pray on the stream. I've been thinking about it, and I don't pray publicly to make some kind of public spectacle. That's terrible. That's not good. So I'd almost rather do it in private beforehand. Although I know praying together is good too. So, oh yeah, I know that, K-Money. Thank you, and I do. But anyways, I appreciate that, Pac-Man. Thank you. Well, sure. Let's pray then, guys. Lord, I thank you for this community, and I thank you for the reminder to go back and be in communication with you as much as possible. We love what you're doing through us with this product and in this community for LaunchBox and BigBox, and I pray that you would just continue to help us make LaunchBox and BigBox better and better and better, and be productive today and bless our conversations. I pray that you would be with Jade and her mood today. Help her to just feel better about everything that's going on. Having a job and having someone to live life with are both their needs, their primary needs. So help her and just meet her needs. Help her to find somebody to live with, and then also get her a job. Get her the job she needs. Show her what she needs to do in order to land a job, and not only just a job, but a job that makes her happy and allows her to be productive. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. I hope I wasn't overstepping there, Jade, but I just felt called to pray for you. So I hope you don't mind. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. You know what? I'm not sure. I hope I got that right. Jade, are you a girl? It sounds like I got it right. You're very welcome, Jade. I just assumed that Jade Kitten would be a girl, but I've never confirmed it, so. Last I checked. Well, I'm glad you're a girl because otherwise it'd be kind of offensive. All right. Stay away from the cocaine, then what? What difference does it make, Stifilus? Oh my goodness. We all knew she was a girl anyways because we're talking about like Stifilus is all about is saying sorry I'm taken and all this stuff. You guys are nuts. All right, so here we go. Where are we at? So we just finished this stuff. Are you having any luck testing, Sid? He's probably it takes a while to test it, so he's probably in the process of testing it. That is true. I do know your name. I remember that now. So that is why I knew. I don't always I assumed you were a girl though when I first saw your name come up in the stream. Still parsing the file names. Makes sense. Hopefully Sid's testing it. Hopefully it's working great. Just to look at these game names. Why do we have all these versions on it? 1869 version 1.2, 1869 version 1.2 AGA. So we might still not have everything for all I know. As if you look at oh, I was doing top 1000. Well, that's not good. But still. Yeah, so there's still ones we're missing. Sadly. So neither of those are complete sets is basically what that's saying. Darn it. Because we have the AGA and without, and then we have this DE0417. All these different ones, we're going to need a lot more than what we've got. So this is going to improve it, but it's not going to get us all the way there. So here's a challenge for you guys. How do I get Amiga XML that literally has every possible version and every possible thing? I don't know. I can do a search. Amiga list. So we have the Open Amiga game database, but I don't know that that's really going to have that data. But yeah, this is going to get us a lot farther, but it's not going to get us all the way there, sadly. I mean, I suppose I could do some rough matching, but I'd rather have the legit list because it's going to be more accurate if we do. If we get a legit complete list. So if there was, well, but the other thing is the hyperlist stuff isn't the best source of data for this type of thing, because we don't want just the hyperlist data. We want all possible data, and part of the point of hyperlist is to exclude any duplicates, right? So hyperlist is meant for let's get everything that most people are going to want without duplicates in their collection. So hyperlist doesn't have everything, so we need a different source, which is going to be difficult to find, and I don't know where to get that stuff. But if you guys have any ideas at all, let me know. But for example, and if you look at where am I at here? In Sid's list here, or Sid's example here, he's got a more complete set. He's got this, 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 and this, whereas in our data, we've still only got one or two of them for 1869. So sadly, this isn't going to cut it. Cool. Let me try that, Sid. Come on, Twitch. Hurry up. It's taking forever to load the comments here. There it is. For Commodore 64, there's the game-based 64 database. It's comprehensive. Okay, so the game-based databases. All right. Okay, I'm looking at, I can move this over so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So we might be able to use GameBase if there's a GameBase for Amiga. Huh, okay. Cool. Yeah, thank you, Jade. Teddy. Okay, so question is, I'm not familiar with GameBase very much. I played with it a long time ago. The question is, how do we get data out of GameBase into Excel or some format that I can get up to the SQL Server database is the next thing. So I guess I'll download this. GameBase for Amiga is not good enough. Many missing. Okay. Well, crap. Okay, so this WHD load stuff I was looking at. Talking about SQLite. So how do we get at this data is the question. What is that? I managed to scrape the real game names from the WHD load page, which gives me the proper names. So I see that if you look at the links on the bottom, they don't have the versions or anything like that. So I'm not quite sure if that's going to help. The current game-based Amiga database. Okay. We'll give that a shot. GB64 is an Access database. Okay, I can use Access. It's Access. Okay. I think I've got Access installed. That is old school. Yes, I sure do. Okay. Open other files. Why it didn't let me drag it over, I have no idea. Look at that. Games. Bingo. The name, the file name. Does it have all the duplicates is the question, though. So 1869, there's 4 of them. But they don't even match what we're seeing in Sid's screenshot. So this figures, this is going to be a case of just inconsistent bad data. I have a feeling. So getting this right is going to be a royal pain in the butt, and we might be the first people to actually do this, which isn't good because that means it's going to be very difficult to get correct. The easiest way to force the update, Sid, would be to go to this URL here, gamesdb.launchbox-app.com/metadata.zip, and that will download the zip file and then extract the metadata.zip in your LaunchBox metadata folder, which will overwrite the 3 XML files. It makes sense. It only updates once a day, so if it had already updated or something like that, it's not going to update again. So it's possible that it didn't update, yeah. All right, so what are we going to do? I don't know. This data is... There's more data here. We could import it anyway, but it doesn't all match up. Not to mention, well, some of these names, I don't know. I don't know. We have this AGA stuff going on, which I don't even know what that means. Yeah. So it's just all about getting the right data, guys. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but I'm not sure. I mean, one other thing we could do is to do some rough parsing. We could try and figure out how to remove the V version number stuff and then anything else after it. but that's not going to be as accurate as if we had a good list. AGA is a different graphics mode. Okay. I'm used to the PC stuff, EGA and VGA and CGA, not AGA. I don't know what that is. Goodness, though, getting the right data, I don't know. Sure would be nice to solve this, though. But these file names don't even seem to match up, and there's a lot of them that are even missing the file names. So yeah, this is fairly useless, sadly. It's not about Syphilis. It's not about allowing people to have duplicates. It's about supporting anyone's collection of Amiga ROMs. Because what good is this if we only use one set of ROMs? I'm going to get complaints left and right. It's all about just being able to support various versions of the ROM set. Yeah, Tandy, TGA, sure. Agnes graphics adapter, interesting. I don't know, guys. So we have the table. It's easy to get data in there. It's just a matter of finding the right data to put in there. And then other platforms, I don't want to just sit here spinning my wheels. I'm not sure what to do as far as finding the right data to put in there. Your Sid, the set that you're working with, I don't know. We're starting to get on shaky ground as far as what we should talk about with ROM sets and stuff. But I don't know where you got it or any of that. So who knows if that's if there's any data along with it or anything of that nature. And I'm gonna have to. So if you have a Hyperspin Amiga ROM set, it should work great. But other than that, there's nothing. I don't know what to do. Oh, they will complain. They're already complaining. That's what we're trying to solve. I want Amiga to just work, but I can't. I don't know. I don't have data for it. Then we have issues with like Atari ST. See what Subatomic is saying here. Yeah, I keep getting a lot of requests for changelog stuff. Fact of the matter is, it just takes extra time every time I add a new place to add change logs. So the main complaint right now is that there's no way to see the change log until after you download the change. Whatever. But yeah, that's probably something I should do eventually. There are thousands of possibilities to name files. Of course, of course. But we want to support the most common sets. And even the set that Sid has doesn't obey it. So, I don't know. Yeah. Question is, what kind of set does Sid have? Unfortunately, this isn't true. We just figured that out. Those are good thoughts from Fisty. Sure, I don't even know who they are, Sid. If you want to open up that conversation, that would be awesome. So looking at Atari ST is another problematic one. Oh, by the way, while you're on here, Sid, are there any other issues with Amiga in particular in LaunchBox other than the imports and getting the file names and things to download properly? Are there any other issues? Does it work just out of the box with the emulators and stuff? How difficult is it to get it up and running? whdload.de. Hard disk install package. Sure. The CRC tag can be problematic. It can be useful, yes, but generally with ROMs, CRCs are shaky, and every time a new version of a ROM comes out, the CRC isn't going to match up, and so yeah, that's probably not a good solution either, Teddy. Unfortunately. Problem is, I mean, if we had a conclusive list of CRCs, every version ever released, then that would be useful, but we don't. We don't have any conclusive list, which is the problem to begin with. So we don't have CRC data and we don't have file name data. Now Atari ST, Pac-Man. I have the Commodore Amiga complete set using Hyperspin naming convention. 1954 ROMs. I just read down on the metadata and images, but no new images were found. Okay. Well, this is we're on. You need the 6.9 betas, Pac-Man, in order to be able to do this. It needs to be 6.9 beta 1. And then you'll need to manually download the latest metadata again, make sure that's in there. And go from there. The 6.8 release doesn't have any of this logic in there. But thank you. That's a good test. I'm actually, if you can test that, that would be great. That's important. Because that will at least confirm that that it's working for the hyperspin sets. And then we have the question of what else needs improved for imports. And we have an issue with Atari ST where you have to feed over 2 disks at the same time. So we could solve that. And then another thing where I think we should be adding variables into the emulation for an option for that, because sometimes the ROM name needs to be before the parameters for some rare setups. So I want to add that as well. The only thing it does is removing the underscore from the file names. So it could be that I have a glitch yet. I kind of need to test it here. Darn it. Well, in that case, I'll test that stuff off the stream. I'll go find a package and then give it a shot. Naomi and a Thomas wave. Good question. So I've never tried. I'm ignorant to Naomi and a Thomas wave. Are they they're arcade platforms, right? Naomi is an arcade platform, correct? And then a Thomas wave. No issue. Okay. Did you just try it recently, Jade? Or was it always working? Thomas Wave names everything properly, but it shows game name colon file name. What in the world? Okay. So it worked for Jade a week or two ago. I'm not following really Stiflis's stuff. Anybody got an example of like a Thomas Wave or Naomi file naming conventions? That's weird, Stiflis. I guess if we took a look at the hyperlist stuff, it might show us it might show me what the file name conventions. Zip name. No, I didn't do anything to fix that. Although I'm not really following. Let me check on something. So, in theory, yes, it should be correcting these names for a Thomas wave to the proper names. These are MAME style names. And as I mentioned in the beta thread, you don't have to force MAME metadata anymore. So yes, a Thomas wave should be covered. I'm going to create a list of platforms for me to test here, and then I can test them all after the stream today, and fix any bugs, and make sure that they're going to work. What else we got? We got Atari ST. I know that's an issue. What I really need from you guys right now is a list of problematic platforms that I need to try and fix, I guess. Amiga, Atari ST, and then anything else? Sega Model 3. I know Sega Model 2 is perfect. Okay. Taito Type X. Naomi, somebody mentioned. So I'll test those after the stream. Unfortunately, I hope we don't run into more issues where we just can't find the data for those platforms. I don't know. I think typically the arcade platforms are much more uniform than stuff like Amiga. Amiga is the first time I've run into the problem where the file names are so weird and don't match anything else. the normal ROMs usually have everything, all the custom details in parentheses or brackets, and so it makes it easy to remove that information. The problem with Amiga is none of that stuff is removed. I might be able to go ahead and add some processing to lop that stuff off, though. So that's probably what I'll end up doing for Amiga. Oh, yeah. Well, if that's the case, Stifless, then I'm not going to have any solution for it at all. If we can't rely on the naming I mean, if there's nothing to rely on as far as naming conventions, then we're screwed. We're just absolutely screwed, and there's nothing we can do, period. Which sucks. But we need something reliable in order to do this well. And believe it or not, up to this point, we found pretty much something reliable for almost every system out there. But import the metadata. What do you mean by that, Stifless? All right. Well, let's. I wanted to add. Based on the game name, but you need to add it every game individually. Yeah, that's the thing. So you can't use an import process, which makes sense. There is a Tato type X naming convention if you use the hyperspin XML. Sure. Sure. So if you read the folder, there's already an option to do that. That's worth testing, K-Money. I haven't tested Neo Geo. That's another one to see if we can test. Yeah, the folder name, we already have that checkbox in there to parse the game name from the folder name instead of the file name in the imports. So that should already be covered in theory. But I'm going to go through, after we get done with the stream, I'm going to go through all these platforms, try and find a good ROM set to test with, and go from there. If anybody, I will say, if anybody has a ROM set for me to test with, hit me up in private. You can email me at jason@unbrokensoftware.com or jasondavidcarr@gmail.com. I don't even need the actual data. I just need the file names, ultimately. But obviously, it's easiest if you just got the ROMs. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go hunting. That makes sense, Jade. All right. So the next thing I wanted to do, I'm thinking like another thing. Well, I was going to do variables in there for launching the emulator. So I wanted to add a variable for ROM name, or ROM file name, or something like that. So basically, in our edit emulator form, and then also when we launch the games. Let's load that up here first. I need to reset the language on this. Capcom, Midway, separately as well. And I think you should be able to do that, K-Money. I think. Like CP System 2 and 3, whatever it is. I don't know about Midway. But in theory, that should be possible already. So what am I doing? I need to go to data game, and there's something called play emulator. This method here when we actually start the game, you'll notice I already have this platform variable in here, and LaunchBox BigBox exe path variable. I would just want to add another variable. Start info file name, the arguments. I see. Parameters is okay. So it's not just this, but I'm gonna say we're gonna add another replace in here ultimately. Dot replace percent ROM file path percent. I'm just gonna call it percent ROM file with something. I'm not sure what I'm gonna replace it with yet. And then wherever we're defining our parameters variable, start there. We're trying to get the command line. Okay. We add the space. Okay, and this whole thing, this is where we add the ROM file at the end. Instead of doing this, so we need to add another string ROM file to add. Actually, that's going to have to change a little bit. So instead of doing this, what we're going to do is ROM file to add equals ROM file to add equals file name without extension and path. Oops. So then, now that we have that populated, this is going to need to move down. And what this is going to be is if, if parameters.contains percent ROM file, then we have a variable specifying where to put it already. And we're going to do something different. Otherwise, we're going to add it automatically. So parameters plus equals the space plus ROM file to add. Otherwise, parameters plus equals ROM file to add. I could type, oops. Now, if it already contains, I'm just going to do that. We're only going to add it if the variable isn't there. And then down here, we can use ROM file to add. And in theory, what this is going to do is allow you in the emulator configuration to add a %ROM file variable that anywhere in the path that will have you it will have you be able to customize the launching commands further. And I don't remember what emulator is a problem, but we have run into a particular emulator here or there that needs that. So that'll be good. As far as the form itself, it would be nice to explain this stuff. Right now we're not explaining any of these variables yet. I'm not sure I'm going to do that right now, but because ideally we would just automatically configure the emulators. So that's another thing that we could work on that I kind of have been meaning to do for a long time is figure out a list of emulators to add to the list and maybe change some defaults and all that kind of stuff. Because our emulator list and default settings are completely out of date and they need updated and all that. So that's something to think about too. Maybe we can tackle that. I wonder if this new XML change will change where the Rocket Launcher plugin looks for ROM names. I don't think so. What do you mean where the Rocket Launcher plugin looks for ROM names? You mean from the file XML, files.xml file that I just added? I don't think that would make sense because it's only being used on imports. And if you customize any of your game names, then they're not going to show up if it uses that file instead of the actual LaunchBox.xml file. So, sadly, unfortunately, that's not that wouldn't work. Yeah, I have heard that. I think that's a bug. I don't think there's anything I can do to fix that. So anyways, in theory, we should be good to go. With this change, you guys think it's a good idea to start taking a look at emulator default settings and go through the emulators list and try and figure out what's missing and what we need to add and that kind of thing? Or would you rather not do that in the stream and do something else development wise? Atari ST would be good to fix, although that one's going to be difficult because we only have one, ROM file path for each game. We could try and parse some stuff out where it tries to parse the additional applications and all that stuff, but I'm not sure if that's really going to be feasible. It seems simple. It just requires both ROMs. just has to basically use both disks at once. And we have the import process already working for that, and Atari ST, and it adds the disks automatically. So in theory, we should be able to parse that out. It's just not going to be necessarily easy to do. We could add variables for it. Huh. I think I'll tackle that later, though. LED Blinky. You know what? That would be a good thing to get started with. I'm kind of tired of just hemming and hoeing here. I definitely, I mean, it's going to be a lot easier to work on LED Blinky when I actually have an LED Blinky cabinet. But we could get started. We could see how far we can get. I think that's a good idea. I would appreciate doing that, just because I've been dealing with this metadata crap far too long. So maybe we should do that. And of course my to-do list is 10 miles long. It's just, what do I feel like working on today? But so LED Blinky, the cabinet. I was gonna say the cabinet is supposed to ship out. My bar top arcade is supposed to ship out on Thursday. So Keith is wrapping that up. It's looking really great. That's gonna ship out on Thursday. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take to ship, but hopefully less than a week. And then I'll be able to really dive into LED Blinky stuff. But we can get started on LED Blinky stuff right now. I kind of want to check to make sure all my code's checked in. We might want to branch it out just in case it has to be in limbo. But oh, this was recent. The game, yeah, so we'll check this stuff in. Game, emulator, game, ROM file, variable launching. That it is absolutely K Money, and actually I have an email from him with stuff to get me started. So if you guys don't mind, give me a second though. I gotta go to the restroom here real quick. Be right back. Sorry about that, guys. So, actually, I need my email. Yeah, it's amazing to have a cabinet. One thing I will say is the first cabinet, I went to Rec Room Masters for my upright cabinet, and it's very functional. It works great, but it is so ugly right now. Partly because the Rec Room Masters cabinets are really, really nice and functional. They work awesome, but they're not the prettiest things in the world. Secondly, I didn't put enough time into like getting artwork on it, good artwork on it and stuff like that. And thirdly, I'm terrible at putting this crap together. So that's why my cabinet's not very attractive. But I'm really looking forward to getting the bar top arcade, because it's going to be gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Maybe I can pull up an image, the latest image that Keith sent me. And of course, Rincewind designed all this stuff, all the graphics for me, and it's just beautiful. So let me pull up. Maybe I can pull that. I think you guys have all seen it already, but maybe not. So there it is. Obviously, it's this one. You'll notice it's cut off up here. We're fixing that right now, reprinting this with smaller text so that it fits without getting the text cut off. But other than that, there's the gist of the cabinet. I think it's not going to do it justice to see the picture of it, but I'm really looking forward to getting this thing and making it all blink nice with LED Blinky and all that stuff. So that's coming. Thank you. I agree. Let's catch up on some comments here. Yeah, you guys are excited about LED Blinky. That's good. So let's do it. Let's get started. Makes sense, Ali. Thanks. So LED Blinky it is. We'll get started. Vissy, what was the feature you wanted to request? That's good to know, K Money. Maybe you can help with the configuration and all that stuff. You might be able to answer some questions, actually. LED Blinky's now working with MAME 0.176. Cool. You know what? I think I might have appreciated my cabinet more if I had built it from scratch. Problem is, I don't know what I'm doing. I wish I did. I mean, I'm not good with my hands as far as building things. I'm very good with computers, obviously, but that's about it. Something small and short so you can fit your wheelchair under it. Sure. A bar top would probably work pretty well for you. It would make sense. You just have to figure out how to put it on a table or something. Yeah, Rincewood did awesome with this. It's just incredible. I'm amazed. Issue number 1425. I can't give you the price I paid because Monster Arcades gave me a bit of a deal on the cabinet because they were being really nice to me, and I promised that I would show off the cabinet in some videos and advertise for them a little bit. So I got a deal that I can't share, but I think I don't even remember. I did get some extras on it, but if we go to the Monster Arcades website, the typical price, I don't want to say it wrong. I've got an idea in my head, but I don't want to get it wrong. It's the base price for the 2-player bar top arcade is $1,600 plus some shipping. I'm not sure what I think the shipping is like $100. And I'm getting this doesn't have it in there yet, but I'm getting the LED Blinky stuff, which is an extra something like $100 or something like that. And then I'm getting a spinner on it as well, which is not very much. It's like, I don't know, it's like $50 to add that or something. So I did get some extras. I can't remember the details on all those prices, so forgive me there. And like I said, I'm getting a discount, so just because I'm helping him advertise. Yeah, it's not cheap. It's very, very expensive. And if I could build it myself, like if I had the expertise to build it myself, I certainly would. But I know if I tried, it would look like crap. So that's why. And I have to admit, like on my with my income, if it wasn't my job, and you know, if I couldn't justify buying a cabinet as a business expense, and I didn't need the cabinet, then it would be very, very difficult for me to justify spending the kind of money this kind of money on a cabinet. They're very, very expensive, and it sucks. But yes, it's very, very difficult to justify spending $2,000 on an arcade cabinet, obviously, for most people, myself included. But thankfully, my job allows me to do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it, is what I'm trying to say. So I feel pretty blessed in that regard. But yeah, it's not cheap. Not at all. I hear you, Jade. Yeah, this one, my full size arcade cabinet has a trackball, and I love that. The only thing that I'm going to miss on this one is the trackball, but I don't have a spinner on my full size arcade, and I miss having a spinner. So it's going to be a trade off between the two. It does. They always do limit you to certain types of games, and one thing that people don't always think about, but racing games, they suck on most arcade cabinets. You can't play a racing game on an arcade cabinet without having a proper wheel. It's just not going to happen. And even when you do get a proper wheel, half the games use one type of wheel and the other half the games use another type of wheel. So racing is extremely difficult to get right on an arcade cabinet. Yes, that does include the PC, DOS. Absolutely. It comes with a PC. I'm sure you could, Rigged Win. I don't. If you get a kit, it's a lot cheaper. But I did a lot of research, and Monster Arcades is they're a lot nicer than a lot of them, than most of them. They're like the nicest I could find. So I'm paying a premium in order to choose Monster Arcades because I like them. This stuff, the wood that this is made out of, I think it's birch. This isn't particle board, guys. This is like legit. Like everything in this cabinet is legit. Real wood, real everything. This isn't. They're not skimping out on anything. So it's good stuff. It is the way I think what it is. It's going to be a modern and an up to date Core i3 in there, so it's not overly powerful. And then I think it does have a decent video card in there, but I might be upgrading some of the hardware. I'm not sure yet. I'll give you a better review on that stuff once I actually get the unit. Yeah, that's the thing. The wheels are awesome, but they're so hard to configure, and every game needs a different configuration when it comes to racing. So if you pick up an arcade cabinet, and you have hopes for a good racing experience, you're not going to get one unless you build a dedicated racing cabinet. And beyond that, every racing game is different and is going to need custom configuration. So it's a royal pain in the butt. Anyways. Yeah, I've never seen a place to get an arcade cabinet for $200. That's kind of crazy. But the other thing is a lot of people are using Raspberry Pis in their arcade cabinets, the cheap ones, which is great. It's awesome that that's even possible to do. But a Raspberry Pi sucks for a lot of things, and you can barely play N64 on a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, it's a lot of work to get a good racing experience out of anything, really. Anyways, so here we are. We are going to try and tackle LED Blinky. Let me try and find the email. That has what we need. Here it is from Artzu, however you say his name. So I have a doc file. This is a PDF for installing and configuring LED Blinky. So I really don't know what to expect here. I don't know how difficult this is going to be. You guys might be able to help me out. I've never used LED Blinky. I've never looked at anything regarding LED Blinky, so I'm a complete noob with LED Blinky. And you guys might be able to help me get started quicker than this guide would. I'm not sure. But Installation process is probably interesting. Standalone installation for any front end versus a plugin installation. So apparently Mala, Atomic FE, and GameX and Pinball X support this plugin solution. So we have the option to either use the plugin solution or to do it the way Hyperspin does it with a standalone installation. Those are the plugins. Run the generate LED Blinky input map application. And just check out on the comments, see if you guys got any advice for me here. You hear my dog. What's going on out there? Rich's Bar Top Arcades. I've seen that around. I think that's. I'm not sure if that's the same guy I remember talking to. Sure. So these are kits, from what I can tell. Yeah, I like Raspberry Pis. I played a lot with Raspberry Pis and actually wanted to get LaunchBox and BigBox running on a Pi a while back, but I never went back to that. It just seems kind of silly these days when you can spend $100 and get a computer that'll run Windows, like full versions of Windows. Why? Why would you spend $35 instead and get a little tiny thing that doesn't, I guess is kind of where I'm coming from. It's not that much more expensive to get a full Windows installation, so I kind of abandoned that idea. There are two steps in LED Blinky. One is getting games configured for different buttons, and the other is getting the front end to launch the right config for the game. And obviously, that is what I'm interested in doing. I just need to get the front end working with it. If Big Box will support LED Blinky, I'll definitely start learning it again. Yeah, it will. I need to go to the US to get a computer for $100. Yeah, I'm probably exaggerating that. I know, like, you can get there's something called a Pico or something like that you can get for like 150. That's only got 2 gigs of RAM, but it runs Windows 10, and in theory it'll run LaunchBox at least. Big Box maybe even 2, I would hope, but I don't know. I haven't tested it. There's others out there for $200 or less. That are basically miniature computers that are a lot like a Raspberry Pi. They come with their case and everything, and they run Intel Atom, and they'll run all the stuff. Don't know if you need anything more advanced than passing the ROM name to the EXE. If it's really that simple, then we're I mean, it's not going to take long at all. But the thing is, we also got stuff. So not only do we want to be able to pass the ROM name to the exe, but I also want like demo modes and stuff like that. So what I really need to do first is install LED Blinky, I would imagine. Oh, that's awesome, Jay. I hope it's that easy. So let's actually download LED Blinky. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do anything with it for real, since I don't have anything. But if it's really that simple, then we're in good shape, man. If it's really as simple as just calling, whenever you select a game, calling LED Blinky EXE with that game, then, I mean, this is going to be a breeze. And the other thing is, if it is that simple, I might as well wait until I get the cabinet, because there's like zero prep that I'm going to need to do. It's just going to be a day, like 2 hours to get it done. You have to pay to get the full version of LED Blinky. Okay, I thought there was something like that. It's only $20. Trial version limitation, sure. No problem there. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys can hear my family downstairs. I got more daughter issues. So this is what we get when I extract the LED Blinky. Okay, so these are the plugins, I would imagine. Yep. And then here's the full installation. So I'm going to put LED Blinky, I'm guessing. Just move it into my LaunchBox folder. And then here it is, right? Something like that. And then I'd add a setting to LaunchBox for LED Blinky path and set it all up. And then all the configuration would be done in LED Blinky, I'm assuming, and we'd be good to go, right? Keep scrolling down in the dock. Where did that dock go? So it only works automatically with MAME, which makes sense. Standalone command line mode, sure. Any front end that supports the ability to launch an external application and pass parameters can use LED Blinky. Nice and simple. The LED Blinky standalone program file is ledblinky.exe. Just needs us to launch it prior to starting the game. Wow, neat. FE start, FE quit, sure. Neat. That's easy. Game start. ROM, emulator. Cool. Okay. Screensaver start, screensaver stop. Killer, man. This is so simple. That's awesome. List change. Yeah, this is going to be a breeze. I expect the tough part will be configuring LED Blinky, of course, but that's all going to happen in the LED Blinky interface. So, kind of what I'm thinking, guys, is testing this stuff is going to be like impossible without having the hardware, which is kind of what I figured. Yes, I could implement it without it, but I don't want to, because it's going to be a lot more fun and a lot easier to do it once I actually get the cabinet. So hopefully you guys can wait a week, week and a half, whatever it is, for me to get the cabinet, and then we'll wrap this up. That makes sense, K-Money. Yeah, this is super simple. So, I mean, this is the kind of thing I'm going to be able to build this in a day once I get the cabinet. So it's not going to be difficult. It's just a matter of doing it. And I could implement it now, but I won't be able to test it. So now is not the time to do it. I'll wait till I get the cabinet, and then we'll get it all integrated, and we'll go from there. The new retro arcade stuff, that looks pretty awesome. You're talking about like the 3D world where you go around to the arcade cabinets. Yeah, that looked amazing when I saw that recently. Yeah, me too, Teddy. Me too. So, what should we do then? I can take a look at my to-do list. We still have an hour and 15 minutes in the stream. I'm going to be tackling all these platforms later once I can get the, once I can get the packages of the ROMs and all that stuff to test them, which I can't really do on the stream for obvious reasons. We have all these properties I've been trying to add for SID, all this stuff for SID for the custom themes. I need to get back to that here at some point. The games database, we had a saving error. Add more binding options. The VLC stuff for the Steam videos green line, which I don't have a solution for. Documentation for the custom themes is a big one too that I need to do. A setting to make a default view in Big Box is also a high priority. Oh, sorry, Vissy. Yeah, let me check that out. What was it? It got lost in the comments. Can you link me to it, Vissy? Someone in the Hyperspin and Rocket Launcher forums that has the majority of games and systems configured with LED Blinky. That's pretty nice. Oh, okay. So is that available for me to download? That's good. Thank you. Yeah, file and download to make it easier. Oh, that's good to know, K-Money. If you can link me there, that would be good. I vote for my theming stuff, of course. Thank you, Jade. I did see that come in. I'll take a look at that. Just to quickly answer you, yes, I do have an account there. X input wrapper. Sure. Yeah, I saw that come in. Certainly not something that's going to be quick to do, though. What do you guys feel about this? This X input wrapper can be created for emulators to give it X input functionality. So be part of the edit for emulators. Just a checkbox to wrap X input. So you want to add X input support to emulators that don't have X input support. No worries, Jade. Thank you, K-Money. What do you guys think about this ticket? I'm just asking to get a general feedback as far as how how needed this is. This isn't something I'm going to be able to build today. It would be a major undertaking to build something like this. So I guess I need to know if this is a common request or not. I noticed this ticket has 0 votes, Vissy, so vote for it. Because the more votes I can get on a ticket, the more likely it is that I'm going to be able to do it soon. Yes, we should. We can. I already know what the top tickets are. That's why I don't always look at them. But and one of them we just talked about doing. LED Blinky is super high up there. Thank you, K Money. I will bookmark that. Rocket Blinky. Cool. Yeah, it's not going to be easy to code. It does sound like a good idea, but it would be days of development probably. So, but thank you, Vissy. We'll come back to this at some point, but it's not going to be simple. So it's probably not going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately. And like we always say, the voted ones, are the ones that we tackle first. So the most voted tickets right now. Attract mode, which I plan to implement once I get my new cabinet and before October. The separate regions thing, we need to come back to this and figure out what exactly we're missing. Nested filters is a big one, although that's a huge job. A very, very huge job. It's going to be separate for LaunchBox and Big Box. It's going to be huge for both of them. So that one I've been putting off just because of the amount of work involved, and I'm kind of scared of it, to be honest. Steam Video Download we just implemented. Just because it was high up on the list and it was relatively easy to do, so I said let's do it. Allow scrolling Big Box Notes text, that's obviously something I need to do. Shouldn't be that difficult to do, so this one should be done here relatively soon, I would expect. Basically naming all the images the same as the ROM file names instead of the game titles. That's one that shouldn't be too terrible to do. Although it's gonna be hairy. It's not gonna be easy necessarily. Number of local players. That's just data. That should be relatively simple. Additional scraper options. Of course, this is super complicated. That's not going to be quick at all, depending on what scraper we add. So the priority on that, unfortunately, is not very high. Advanced search options is another one that could be implemented relatively. It's going to be a new interface and stuff, so it's going to take a lot of work, but it's something we could do in a couple days, a day or two. Submenus and manual sorting in Big Box. I don't even remember what that one is. This is from Sid. Oh, sure. Yeah, so like separating out platforms to different folders and stuff like that. So really, I mean, that's similar to the... no, it's different. I like this. I really do. So hopefully we can get that in there at some point. It's sort of similar to the filters, the sub-filters. Metacritic ratings. We already have those on the LaunchBox Games database, but we're not using them in LaunchBox, which is really kind of silly. So that should be a high priority. Custom fields and custom filters. Custom filters are going to be completely revamped with playlists at some point here soon. So customize the priority of the databases before scraping. Makes sense. progress indicator for zips, LED Blinky, animated backgrounds and animated box art. Yeah, we added GIF support. We have animated backgrounds of the videos in Big Box. LaunchBox, that's not going to happen anytime soon. We're not going to do animations for backgrounds or any of that stuff in LaunchBox because it would take a lot of work. We'd have to rebuild how we do the painting engine and all that stuff in order to really make it work well. And that's not the point of LaunchBox. Big and it's pretty. It should be attractive and nice, but it doesn't need to be big and flashy and all that stuff. That's not the point of LaunchBox. That's the point of Big Box. Movies and TV series, although that's a highly voted thing, that's not going to be a focus anytime soon. Multi-disc ROM support, which we just implemented. So, I mean, we are working on stuff. Well, I'm trying to focus on these highly voted tickets. I really am. It's just a matter of weighing in also, how difficult it's going to be to build that and how much the entire community really needs it. And then like background music. So there's lots of fun stuff to do in here for sure. Then we have we're just working on this internal name conversion for Amiga. I was just going to see if we could actually close this out. Oh, so this is for the M3U stuff. To add M3U support for emulators that support it, which would be great. That's a great idea. Anyways, enough going through tickets here. Thank you, Sid. What's missing from the region ticket is the usage of the right regional artwork metadata. That's right. Based on the value in the region field. I need to clarify this on the ticket because I keep forgetting. The usage of the right regional artwork metadata based on the value of in the region field, plus region priorities for games which are either are multi-region world or haven't any region associated to them. Sure. So maybe we can rename this ticket. That's good enough for now, though. So that's going to be a lot of work. That's not simple. That's a major thing. Yeah, it is difficult to get people to vote over here. Eventually, you know what I'd like to do is integrate, the issue tracker and all that stuff with the actual website. And there are some solutions out there, some possibilities there, but of course that's not my top priority right now. I've done a lot of work recently with the forums and then with the website. Although I do need to get back to the website and make things more uniform, get rid of all the old style pages and update them and all that kind of stuff. But eventually we'll get back to integrating some of this stuff. I also don't like the fact that the errors don't go automatically up here. You got to copy and paste them, and there's issues with that. So there's a lot to improve on for sure. I'm not really fully happy with Bitbucket right now, but I'm also not. I think DJ Quad is on here somewhere. I'm also not thinking Jira necessarily is going to be a good solution either. I'd rather have more control than to hand it all over to another company like that. I'd like to integrate it directly with our website ultimately, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think any of that is possible the way I really want to do it with Jira. Yeah, so lots of cool stuff to do that's coming. What were we going to tackle today, though? We were trying to figure that out. I'm sorry, I'm kind of spacey. I feel kind of spacey today, trying to just focus. I'm having focus issues, it seems. But, so, what should we do right now? I'm just trying to think of something we can do in an hour because I don't want to be like stuck in because I want to get back to this stuff. This needs to be the primary goal right now is making sure all the platforms import. So whatever we tackle needs to be quick, and I'm not sure any of this stuff is really that quick. Scrolling text in big box, we could experiment with that, sure. Why not? I'm not quite sure how I'm going to approach that. We'll see what happens. It might be even something you could do with a custom theme. I'm not sure. Submenus would be nice, but no way in hell. No way we're going to be able to do that quickly. That's going to be forever. That's going to take a lot of time. All right, so scrolling text. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but we'll see. We'll see if it's simple. It might not be simple. So we might be a failure. I might fail at this, but we'll see what happens. For example, well, let's figure out what view we want to do it on here first. So let's start with a game view, I think. Not this one though. Probably the wheel games view would be the best one. Well, we don't even have any text in here though. Well, probably because yeah, I think I've just hidden it. I go down to game details. No, I didn't hide it. It's just not in that view. It's really not displayed very many spots. I think it's supposed to be here. Strange that it's not there. Show notes. Unchecked. Sure. Thank you. I don't know how I missed that. Oops. There it is. So the notes, it's already a separate field. Is it on? I think the wheel has this as well. Yeah. So wheel games view, we'll start with that. And how to get it to scroll. I don't know. It's going to have to be sure. Well, yeah, I get your Pac-Man. What's your idea, Jade? So the way we would have to do this is we would have to, I don't know. I just don't know what the best way to animate scrolling text would be. I mean, I could just put it on a timer in the model and scroll it. I think that's what I need to do. And I'm not sure that's the best solution either. Kind of feel like I should do a search. Yeah, using a storyboard seems to be the smartest thing. That makes sense. How do we do it so that it only scrolls if it's not too long and all that kind of thing is the question. But what this will do is, so we have a text block, which is what we're doing, and we use, and this is all in XAML. There's nothing else to this other than the XAML here. So this right here is something we could do in a custom theme. Just add this storyboard with a double animation, which is ultimately going to change the X property. We can make it change the Y property to scroll it vertically. The only issue is like binding these to figure out whether it needs to scroll and all that kind of stuff. But let's give it a shot. It's a start. How about Amazon Google image scraping for box art? That would be cool. I know that is the Google stuff is scraping from Google's on the list. Scraping is a big job. It's not simple. It's really flippin' annoying code actually. So like scraping from Google or scraping from Amazon, and the problem with scraping is that if Google ever changes their markup, and I'm sure they do, their code, or Amazon changes their code, it becomes a major annoyance because then you've got to update. I got to update my code or everything breaks. So I don't like scrapers, and we've avoided doing scrapers so far. Although I agree it would be really nice to have. But anyways, I think Amazon has an API, so in theory we could use Amazon's API somehow or other. And that would be a better solution for Amazon. Google, though, yeah, Google image search. The only way I know how to do it is to actually use a scraper. But anyways, unless Google Images have an API, I'm not sure. They might. Let's give this a shot, though. This scrolling text. This is the wheel games view. Game details. So we have a. So really, this isn't going to be done in here. It's going to be the game details. Ultimately, game details view is what has this. So we have the variables on top, the icons, and then the description on the bottom. So it's this notes text block here. And it's using text trimming, word ellipsis, which basically cuts off the text. So we'll need to get rid of that. Then inside of this, looks like we need text block dot render transform. And then translate transform. Interesting. This is going to be just a tag like that, and we need name equals translate because we're going to refer to that elsewhere. Then we need text block.triggers. We need an event trigger. Okay. Yes, Eva, I'm streaming. You can't right now, I'm sorry, because I'm streaming. And you're going to cry, I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Eva. Begin storyboard. Storyboard, repeat behavior equals forever. Okay, and then we just use a double animation. From, this is going to have to change, but we're going to try this stuff here first. From 1200 -2, -1200, and storyboard.targetName equals translate, which maps up to my translate transform. Target property. This is kind of cool. Never done the storyboard stuff before. Equals Y, which will make it scroll vertically. And the duration, I'm not sure. I think this means 9 seconds. All right, well, see what happens. It's always gonna scroll right now. So in theory, we're gonna need to bind this value and this value, and then maybe even this value, in order to make this actually function the way we would need. Obviously, this isn't going to work the way we want it. So we're going to figure out logic in order to handle that stuff, but this is the proper way to do it, I think. While we build, I'll check the comments here. Yeah, that makes sense, Elliot. Jade, sure. I'd love to see your code on how to do it. I'm still hesitant because, largely because if Google's stuff changes, then it's going to break. But, yeah, go ahead and send me your code. My email is just jasondavidcarr@gmail.com, and I can take a look. I'm not that great at getting back to people, with all that stuff, because I just got so much stuff to do. So give me some time to take a look at it and stuff. But yeah, I'd appreciate that. Property that could be applied to anything, not just game notes. Yeah, since this is, it's easy to do this in custom themes. This is all stuff you can do in a custom theme just fine. Just about the back end stuff, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. Okay. Doesn't show up by default. Maybe there's no notes on that one. Well, that was strange. Alright, we got something weird going on. There it is. So we have it moving. The other thing is it's got to get cut off somehow. How we're going to do that, I have no idea. There's got to be WPF somewhere. There's got to be XAML somewhere to do this. Like, somebody's got to have done this before. It's so common. So it seems like we, instead of just trying to do this all ourselves, we should try and figure out a good way to do it. Obviously, using a storyboard is the proper way to do it, but solve the other problems like it not getting cut off and that kind of thing. Obviously, in order to handle that, I'd put it in a container, and then I'd just have things hide, just be hidden in the container. Yeah, I haven't done the scrolling notes because honestly I don't feel like it's a major important thing. So I feel you, Stifilus. It also should be a setting when I implement it. It should be a setting and not automatic. Well, the thing is though, like if your notes are long, yeah, fine. I should add a setting to turn it on and off. I hear you. So there's that, but. it's not a bad thing to tackle because it in theory it should be relatively quick to do, but and I'm just trying to find something quick to do before we end the stream, because most of the other stuff is time consuming, very very time consuming. I'm gonna do a search for kind of a scrolling text box control. All right, so they're using, in this example, they're using a canvas surrounding it. Get rid of that. Clip to bounds equals true. I'm guessing that will prevent it from going outside the... Actually, no, because the canvas is small now. I'm not sure why I'm not getting any whatever it's called, IntelliSense. See what we get with that. Take it easy, Stiflus. Ali, take it easy. Right. I don't know if there it goes. Oh, it's not wrapping now, but yeah, it's sort of working, but you see how it's getting cut off on the right. Weird. I think I know what's going on though. So the text block, yeah. Let's try this. Copy this. Yep, for sure, DOS. That's going to be work, though, yet. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do all this stuff yet. I'm still basically in the experimenting stage here. Yep. These are just the defaults right now. I got to make it work before I can tweak it, make it right. It's still not working right. I know I can width and height it. Where's the binding stuff for width and height? Come on. It's in here somewhere. Where is it? There it is. Well, that's not really what I'm looking for, though. Menu item. Actual width. Weird. Come on, I know I have something in here simpler than that. Oops. Huh. There. That's what I'm looking for. Goodness. That took way too long. Okay, we were in wheel. No, I was in game details view. That's what we wanted. I'm going to try this. The element name is going to be just like this. Then height is going to be the same way. See if that fixes the sizing issue or the text getting not wrapping. In theory, hopefully. Okay. Come on. There it is. We have wrapping text that scrolls and gets cut off properly. So obviously it's going to be tricky now to get the right animation, get the right speed, and have it not... We got to figure out like... And obviously, I'm not sure this one should even scroll because Huh. You gotta get the right settings for those three properties. It's gonna have to come from the view model. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. Because I have to measure text size and all that crap. It's gonna be a royal pain in the butt, to be honest. That one shouldn't even scroll. Kind of want to. I'm gonna have to do more research to find somebody who's done this, because honestly, it's gonna be a nightmare. Getting it to scroll is easy. Getting it to behave properly, where it doesn't scroll if it shouldn't scroll, and it scrolls at the right speed. That's frankly, unfortunately, quite a nightmare to get it going. Yeah, that's part of the goal, DOS. Unfortunately, that's not easy to do, because I have to, in order to do that, I got to measure the text, come up with the right values using some kind of math for the double animation top and bottom, and get the duration correct, which is time as well. So how do I measure? The question is, how the heck do I measure text? Figure out the length of the text, compare that to the length of the notes field, then come up with the values for from, to, and duration. It's not simple. It's going to be annoying. We're close-ish, but taking it to that final step is just extremely difficult. So, yeah, yeah, I know. Google is the answer. Google just takes me to Stack Overflow. I'm working on that one. I've done some searches, but I haven't found a perfect solution yet. Just people that are ultimately scrolling text left and right. I haven't found like a ticker, a news ticker. Trouble creating. I don't want horizontal automatic scrolling text block. Marquee. I don't want marquee. Yeah, that's not really what I want, but animated about box. Okay, this could be something useful, potentially. Is this XAML though? Is it WPF? No, it's probably Windows Forms, which is useless. Yeah, it's Windows Forms. This Yeah, they're not dynamically calculating anything, so that's not useful. I doubt that's going to be helpful, but we'll try it. This is the same code project article. And I already know how to do that. The problem is to calculate it so that it does it dynamically is the issue. And that's the piece we're missing, and that's the piece that's of course going to be the pain in the butt. It's easy to add the animations. You don't even have to do it in the code. You can do it directly in the XAML. But how do we dynamically calculate these three properties? That's the trouble. And unless somebody has provided some kind of control that will automatically scroll text at a certain speed, that's kind of what we need. Or has code in order to do that. Could you not have the text in an extra container with automatic sizing and then compare the height of that with the height of the area it's supposed to be in? Yeah, that's ultimately the logic. But not only do we have that calculation, we also have time calculations. So it's not like this is going to be simple math. I'm probably going to have to do this myself with just a bunch of experimentation and work on the math. Yeah, something of that nature, Elliot. But it would sure be nice if somebody had already done this for me. But because this just seems like such a simple thing that somebody would have done this before, but I'm not having much luck finding somebody doing it. So I'm probably gonna have to do it myself. Cool. This is Doss's link here. That looks cool. Well, it adds a scroll bar though. This is a text box, not a text block. And you were looking at. Yeah, unfortunately, this isn't what we need, Doss. I don't think this is going to help us out. I'm probably going to have to do this myself. Just being lazy. If we set, alright, so from value, we set to 0. The to value, we slowly scroll the text up, and that's going to be ultimately like the first thing, the first complicated thing we need to do is we need to get the height of the text, which is, yeah, I'm getting there. So it starts at 0, always, and it scrolls to. It's going to go to a negative value, and it's going to be the difference between the height of the text block and the height of the text. So that's not too bad. The math for from and to are fairly easy once we get the actual, once we're able to measure the height of the text and the height of the text block. Once we know that, we can just subtract the height of the text block or the height of the actual text minus the height of the text block, and that's what goes into the to value. The duration is going to have to be longer depending on what that how big that difference is, so that the text speed stays the same. So we're not doing too bad. We're not that far off. This is going to have to be in code. I don't think there's any way to do this with, or maybe there is. There might be a way to do this, to do that subtraction there. We're going to have to figure out a way to measure the height of the text. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that. We want to somehow use WPF to do that. We could hide another element, but that's not necessarily a good way to do it. So really the only problem we're looking at here, other than some simple math issues, is how do I measure the height of the actual text? WPF XAML measure text size. How to calculate WPF text block width for its known font size. Okay. So this is going to be done in code, it looks like. And then once we have that, we should be able to proceed. So we're going to need to do this in the model. We're going to provide bindings. This is going to be a binding. No, this is always going to be 0 for the from. The to binding notes animation to value, I guess, and then notes animation duration. I'm gonna leave that. We'll just leave that right now for now, though. The so in the game details view model, game details view model, where is that? Right here. Interesting, we got 2 of them. Okay. Start with the base class. We have we do have a view attached, I hope. iViewAware, good. We have getView, attach view, okay. So we're going to need to do the text measuring. Well, we need to know the width and the height of the actual text block. Remeasure. Where is this going? Oh, it's just a abstract void. Okay. So that and this, we're probably going to need. So we'll start off, we need to add that property, and it's going to be an int. Public int. What did I call it? Notes animation to value. Get and set. And that'll default to 0, which is what it should default to. And then we're going to need something to measure the text, which should go in the base. Protected int get text height string text var text, no, var whatever, formatted text equals new formatted text. And this is, where is this at? Won't tell me. There it is, System Windows Media. That's okay, that's what we need. We're gonna need the font and all that stuff, which is a pain in the rear. Well, what do we feed into this? Candidate. What is candidate? Oh, that's the text. So we feed in the text first, and then we feed in current culture. Fine. Yeah, flow direction, dot left to right. The typeface. The font size. And then font size. Which is a double. No. Ah. And then the foreground. Why does that matter? Weird. So double font size. Okay. And then we're going to return. Oh, we can make this simpler. That's a double. Okay. All right. There it is. So we can get the typeface and the typeface and the font size for the text block. We're going to need a name on that text block. So first off, we got to get the text block, which I think we already do actually. Notes is right here. We have the text block. So in the remeasure method, we can say, after all this is done, I can say int text height, or double text height, equals this dot get text height, the text. So we need to know what the notes value is. So that's going to need to be in the notes property. For now, I'm just going to put an empty string in there. And then we're going to need the typeface, which is on the notes control. Unfortunately, I think it's not simple figures. Notes.font family, notes.font style, notes.font weight, notes.font stretch. Goodness. Then, what is it? The font size? Yeah. Notes.font size. Goodness sakes. All right. In theory, That'll do it. Once we have the text to measure, that'll do it. I'm going to need to save the notes object. All right, so we need a text block protected text block notes. Then in my remeasure, I'm going to change this up. It's going to be this dot notes. Oh, we also have this stuff inside. Anyways, ultimately I need to specify the text height is going to change. So at the end of this, I'm going to have to say this dot notify of property change, this dot notes animation to value. We have to move this out of here. And we need to modify this class as well to do the same thing. We don't have notes in this one though. So for now I'm going to ignore it for this one. It's just going to be for the other one. Notes animation to value. Then in the notes animation to value property, actually no, we need to notify the final thing, which is, no, that's correct. What do I notify in order to update this though? The notes text. If I take a look at I'm just figuring out where best to put all this stuff. Check out the comments. I haven't checked in a while. What you guys are saying. See ya, Elliot. DOS, could the same parameters work in a text block? Not really. Yeah, we'll delay it. We'll figure out how to delay it somehow or other. I think we can do that with the storyboard. Just more tweaks. Oh, okay. We're getting there. We're actually pretty close, I think. I hope. You just have to follow everything I'm doing here. So we have, we're notifying property change of notes. I'm not sure if that's what we really need to do, though. I think instead of doing that, I should put this back. Put this in here. I'm changing my mind. Okay, so we got, and this should go in here like this. And beyond that, we already have the notes. Well, whenever the notes property changes, we're going to need to, I don't think that's going to be an issue though. So we have the text height. We need to set the property for the animation, this dot notes animation to value equals -1 times text height. This should also be a double instead of an integer. -1 times text height minus the height of the actual text block. All right. Change this to a double. This dot notify of property change. This dot notes animation to value. And in here we have the notes. This dot notes. Okay. Also, get rid of this. We're not actually using it. After all. What did I just do? All right. I think that'll do it. I hope. We shall see. We're not setting the time at this point. Oh, the other thing is we should do this. If text height is greater than notes.actual height, then we do this. Otherwise, we leave it at 0. Which makes it not scroll if it's smaller than the actual size of the control. Right? I hope. See what happens. Look at that. Okay. There's no delay or anything like that. And it's not sure. So somehow or other, I got my math wrong for... It would be nice if it looped too, but that's going to be a pain. And then adjusting the timing and all that stuff. Hey, Billy. So it really just needs to be -1 times the text height, I think. Progress. What on earth? Oh, we're not specifying... a width, a max width on that text. So I'm guessing our text measuring is wrong. Flow direction. Okay. So something has to be able to specify a max width so it will wrap. Right now it's not measuring that. Oh, here we go. Desired size on a text block. That's beautiful. Interesting. But I don't know if that's gonna. Aha. Okay. I think I've figured this out. I hope. We'll see. I don't think we're gonna need this. So what we're gonna do is this dot notes. No, not this dot notes. Notes dot measure. Available size. New size. We have notes dot width. Notes dot actual width. So that's the maximum width. The height is going to be double dot positive infinity. Just like that. And basically, after that, what we can do is we can say desired size dot height, supposedly, and that should be the text height. That's cool. If notes dot desired size dot height that's pretty neat. Let's hope that actually works. Okay, so that the text fits, which is good. It shouldn't be scrolling. Again, the text fits, it shouldn't be scrolling. The text does not fit, and it's not scrolling. I don't know if notes is even right. in this case, so we're gonna have to figure that one out. I mean, if the note's value is correct. Or if... So what if we did this? That might help. Although I also don't know if this is the correct value. It's worth the test. All right. So it's still not scrolling. We have to find out if I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to put first I'm going to put system.diagnostics.debug.writeLine notes, this.notes, and then also system diagnostics. Oh, that's what I'm curious about here first. Let's just start with that. So we'll move that over here. I'm going to start it up, attach to it. And we'll take a look at what those values are. Okay. It does have the right value in there for the notes. Okay, well that's good. So then what's it getting for the desired size.height? I need to attach to it. Whoops. Let me drag this over here. We'll give this one more test and see if I can... I'm about to end the stream here. It's 12:30. But, and I do want to get back to fixing those import processes and testing it all. But let's give this one final test. See if I can figure out what's going on. Okay, I'm attached. Let me pull up my output. Okay, desired size.height seems to always be 0, which is the problem. Why that is, I don't know. But obviously that's the issue. So I gotta look up why desired size dot height is always 0. It's still a matter of just measuring that text. But I think that's it for now, guys. Appreciate all the help today, working on the platforms and all that stuff, importing those platforms. So thank you. And it's Wednesday, right? So I'll see you guys on Monday at 9:30 a.m. PST like usual. I want to get the import processes going. I want to spend some time, maybe tomorrow or Friday, on the LaunchBox Games database, hopefully. Thank you, K-Money. And we'll go from there. I am gonna get LED Blinky support going soon. Attract mode stuff going soon. But the top priority right now is to make sure that imports work for all platforms. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on until that's done. Hopefully. From now until the end of the week. Hopefully it won't take me very long, but that's what I want to focus on. So from there, it's pretty wide open as far as what we can tackle next. Obviously, I'm still working on VLC issues. But Heigen Kanchi did get back to me, and he's going to work with me, which is good. So he can help with some of that stuff. And we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody. Take care.